It's hard for, I think particularly for women, to be taken seriously as business owners, especially young women in an industry that's seen sometimes in a frivolous light. I think it's hard to, I don't know, sometimes legitimize that, and so then you're going through and you're meeting with these accountants and they're literally looking at you like, yeah. I don't know that that's what you're doing is gonna happen, but sure, we'll take your monthly retainer. And then now it's like, oh, you have a real business. And we're like, yeah, we've been trying to tell you that we're running a real business, you know? I'm India Mayer, and this is Katie Shaw, and we are the co-founders of an influencer marketing agency called Of Note, which is centered around a physical location, which we're in, called Note House Nashville. And Note House Nashville is a content creation studio and co-working space for social media influencers and content creators.
We met here in Nashville working at a public relations agency in town. We were like instant friends and then realized that we worked like super well together, and so we decided that we wanted to do something together. You know, we knew that influencer marketing was gonna be the thing that was gonna take over the industry. And so we're constantly kind of thinking of creative ideas, like how can we disrupt the industry? How can we be involved in this? What can we do that will be different than what everyone else is doing? We designed the space with a particular look in mind. So the idea is the space is for content creation, and these influencers come to Note House Nashville because they want something different. They want to shoot in a space that they haven't shot before to add some interest to their social media platforms.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Abigail.
We're better known as the Wanderlust Girls. We do a fashion, lifestyle, and travel blog.
We were in New York City and we moved to Nashville a few years ago. So we love it, and this is the reason why we love it, because there's creatives like this.
We just loved every time we came here. There was so many creatives. Everyone you met was like, oh, I'm a sculptor, I'm an artist, I make jewelry.
There's obviously Music City, so there's lots of musicians, and I think more like photography and interiors, like a lot of people are coming here, and so the brands respond well, and obviously we have now 45 influencer and content creator members in our space, so that continues to grow.
We, with our interior design partner, envision this space to have lots of little vignettes. So you can shoot over there in the corner with that cactus, and that's one photo. And then you can literally move 1 foot over and you're in front of the fireplace, and that's another photo. And then you can move again and you get the artwork, and that's another photo. So then just this one space alone, maybe get 20 photos that kind of look like they're in a different location.
You know, every nook and cranny here is so well designed and so thought out, even down to, you know, like the light fixtures and even like the vases. They're so beautiful, and those are things that we can incorporate into our shoots. Like actually this afternoon we're going to be doing a shoot here in the kitchen because we both don't have kitchens that would work for this. And so that's something that we were able to do here, but we couldn't do anywhere else.
So, I mean, like, yeah, everything here is just everything we need to build our company.
One big goal of our company was to help legitimize this industry. Influencers are often looked at as frivolous. Oh, they're just posting about their outfits. Oh,
It's not hard work.
Yeah. Well, they're like making 7-8 figures a year. Not every single one, but that's the potential of that sort of career. Influencers are driving $15 billion of sales for brands. So it's legit.
And it is hard work. I mean, these people are their own small businesses.
And part of Note House is to do that, is to support them as they grow their businesses.
One thing that I think is important to mention is while we are obviously like 100% dedicated to our business and to what it is and the concept. I think one of the big things that we connected on was the fact that we wanted to have a life that wasn't just a business, and we wanted to get married and have kids and go on trips and not feel like we're in a constant rat race.
We will work really hard. We'll be sending each other emails at 10 p.m. and, you know, working on the weekend. But then, like today, when we're done with this at 2 or 3 or whatever, we're gonna go have a glass of wine and maybe we'll get our nails done. Yeah, I think we're trying to create the life that we want.
I thought she was one behind, like you enough with like trying out haircuts.
Yeah, she kind of was.
Clearly not.
Hey you guys, I'm Mina. I'm a commercial designer in Chicago, and this is my house in Little Village / Pilsen. This is the living room. This is our sofa. It's from CB2, but we got it on Craigslist for like around $300, and it was in pretty good condition. And then I filled it with a bunch of pillows, and my partner and I don't agree on it because I want as many pillows as possible, and he likes to throw them on the floor. And then these really great chairs were his grandma's, and his mom redid them for us a couple of years ago, so they have this really nice stain on them. And then this is our coffee table. It's this really cool Macton stone. And then just accessorize the table with this really cool Virginia Sin candle holder. And one of my favorite designers in Marrakesh, Lawrence, she has these really nice kind of abstract paintings. So we got this when we were in Morocco. And then my favorite thing is to use tile samples as coasters. So you see those throughout the house, but we have a lot of tile coasters around. My fiance is an audio engineer, so we always have to make sure that we have the coolest audio in the house as well. We got these really cool speakers from this Craigslist dealer actually just a couple of weeks ago. This table was actually a hand-me-down from his grandma, and it had this kind of like cherry laminate. So one of my projects in the past few months was redoing this. There's this really great plaster table that Leanne Ford did for Crate and Barrel, and I felt like I could kind of hack it and do it myself. So I actually just plastered this table. This credenza, we got it at one of our favorite vintage stores in Humboldt Park. It's called Vintage Quest, and the guy's just like really cool. You can take your dog there. He sometimes has parties upstairs, so it's just like a cool space to be. So I really like how it adds this like warmth and darkness to the space that we kind of needed to counterbalance the other woods. Welcome to the dining room. This is our dining table. We love to have dinner parties around it, and we just have like really intimate moments. We got this dining table on OfferUp for only like $150, and it matches our coffee table in the living room. It's like that Macton stone again. And then we got these Seska chairs on Craigslist for $60. On the table, we have this really beautiful pottery piece from DTK Ceramics. He's this really awesome ceramicist, and he's done some really cool like big installations around the city, so he's definitely one to check out. I don't know if we were supposed to do this because we rent, but this light fixture is from IKEA, and Derek is really good with wiring, so he installed it for us. This is our built-in. We keep a lot of like things stashed away in it, but we also can style it with our cameras and like all of our book collection. And then the bar was a pass down from Derek's grandma, and it was actually in really good condition, so we haven't done anything to it, but it's just like this really nice mid-century modern piece that we didn't have to buy. This is our gallery wall in the dining room. It's made up of some estate sale finds and some finds from Morocco. This alpaca wall hanging is from an estate sale. It's like kind of funky and off the wall. And then this hat and broom I got in the souks of Morocco. And then this is my like favorite designer. She's based in Morocco. Her name is Lawrence, or that's like the company's name, but she makes these really beautiful like wall hangings and ceramics. This bench, this is like one of my most expensive purchases. It was only like $200, but I don't spend that much money on furniture, so this is like our fine piece. I don't like people to sit on it that much. Welcome to the bedroom. This is our bedding. We got this in Morocco. We got this blanket and this one and these 2 pillows. And then this wall hanging we really love. We got it in San Francisco at a thrift store. And we just really like the desert vibe that it gives to the space. This lamp we got from this vintage seller on Instagram. Her name's LB Finds. And then we really love this artist. We don't know who it is, but we got it at Midland Vintage in Indianapolis. And you can see him all over the house. They have one here, one in the bathroom, and one in the dining room. One of the reasons we love this apartment is that it's a 3-bedroom, so we can both have our own studios, and this is my studio. This is this really cool print that Kelly Wersler has, and I kind of added it into Photoshop and then sent it to Zazzle, and they sent me a custom tapestry. This lamp is really special. I actually just painted it, and it's based off of this chair that I love from Sincerely Tommy. She's a Brooklyn-based store, so I'm really proud of it, and she reposted it, so I think she likes it too. And then I got this postmodern chair for only $40 on OfferUp, so this is another really cool find. I love using OfferUp because I just find the best stuff for a good price. And then this is kind of just my wall of art supplies, which is really great because I don't have to go to the craft store all the time. Welcome to our in-house music studio. This is really Derek's space. So he pulled together some images of artists that he really likes their studios, and then we really like the Joshua Tree house and the desert vibes. So on this wall he has his guitar and bass hanging. This mixing board he got from Craigslist. It's really 70s, so he really likes that about it. And then we have this cool giraffe lamp that we thrifted from Midland Arts, and Derek rewired it. We have this recycled denim on the wall, which I think just looks cool, but it also has sound absorption properties. And at some point he was in architecture school, so he has some of his old drawings on the wall, which just really adds his space. It's kind of fun because each of our studios just kind of defines us as people in the design. Welcome to our bathroom. My favorite part of the bathroom is actually this vintage wooden door, and it has the old doorknob. So this is kind of a special feature that we have in here. We didn't really do that much to the bathroom though, just because we rent. So we have the cool vintage tiles on the floor. We didn't paint, it was already this color, but then we got this geometric CB2 shower curtain, and then that kind of informed the design for the rest of the space. We just added these little amber accents, the brown waffle towels. This is another one of those sketch drawings from the artists that we have all over the house. This is our kitchen, and since we're renters we can't really do too much, but we tried to do kind of a cozy kitchen Moroccan vibe in here. So we have just this little seating nook. We got this lamp from IKEA, but it reminds us of the lights that we saw when we were in Morocco. And then this is our little prep island. It's just from IKEA, but since we don't have a lot of cupboard space, we use it as storage. And then I like to decorate it, which Derek thinks we need more prep space, but I want it to be really accessorized. This is a recent addition to the kitchen. Since we don't have a backsplash, I wanted it to still be pretty, so we just got a little dowel from Home Depot and some S-hooks and added some of our cute little mugs and some herbs. And then we added these shelves above the stove just because we don't have a lot of storage in here, but we use it for all of our spices, and then we have small bowls up there. And then I really love this teapot. It's from my favorite artist in Indy. His name is Nathaniel Russell, and one day he was having a yard sale I couldn't go to, so I made Derek rush over, and he came back with this teapot, so now I have a special teapot from Nathaniel. This is our sunroom. It's my favorite room because I can use it in the morning for a cup of coffee, or I can use it at night when I have a cocktail. But we have this sofa that I thrifted from Midland Vintage in Indy. The inspiration for this space was just Moroccan gardens and just trying to incorporate the bright greens and all of the plants that we saw when we were in Morocco. So we made this plant stand and we just used bricks. And then this mirror is from my great grandma. I've had it since I was in high school. Here are my tile coasters again. They really are great, and they add just the green and white pop of color that we wanted to have out in this space. This rug I thrifted. I got it on Facebook Marketplace. I got it for $40. It really was in great condition when I got it, and so I was really excited because it's from West Elm, so it's originally $500.
Here we are, Location Luxe. I'm your host, Alan Canas, and here in season 1, we'll be focused on what we're calling the Great Lifestyle Migration. On each episode, I'll be right here in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. Over the last few decades, we've witnessed a great migration for employment and technology development. As such, the need and demand for homes has been among the highest in the country. These migration choices are giving people an extraordinary opportunity to explore new locations, amenities, and lifestyle options. And that's why we're here. Location Luxe. This week, we get to visit my fabulous friend, Ann Dolan, who is a top real estate agent in the beautiful San Miguel, Mexico. Ann, a born Memphis girl with your heart and soul in San Miguel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be a part of this series. I think it's very exciting. And I am, as you said, I'm located in San Miguel Allende, Mexico, which is in the geographical center of the country.
And today you're going to take us through how San Miguel is so much more than a destination location. It is a beautiful lifestyle. But Ann, before you do that, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Yes, of course. So I have been in San Miguel for 25 years, and the entire time I've been near and around real estate. I recently went back full-time into residential real estate about 7 or 8 years ago. We are proud to say our company, CDR San Miguel, just joined with Forbes Global Properties, and it is a fabulous partnership.
That is great to hear. And where are you right now?
Right now, I'm standing in the interior patio of one of my listings. This home is a beautiful home. It's about 8,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 6 baths. It has several different terraces. And the beauty here in San Miguel is you really do live outdoors and indoors the entire year.
That sounds terrific. And so, Ann, tell us a little bit about why you decided to relocate there. I know that you and your husband took a trip there, I believe you said in 1991 or 1993, and then you relocated.
Yes, that is absolutely how it happened. We made a decision that at that point in time, one of our goals would be to live in another country, learn another language, and own our businesses. And that's when we started our beautiful Mexican journey.
It's great. What a great story. And Ann, it's my understanding you don't have seasonal activities. What you have is you have annual festivals. I am so excited for you to tell us about those festivals.
Yes, it's interesting. And the reason why we don't have seasonal activities is because our weather here is 12 months of the year, 75 to 80 degrees. So we don't have your typical snow ski season and summer activities, because we experience the summer activities year-round. So our festivals, we have several. One is the Grito, which is our Independence Day here. And that's where they have the cry of independence. And we go to our main jardín, and the mayor, the current mayor at that time, will read the Grito, and everybody's shouting, screaming, and then the fireworks just are amazing. And everybody's in red, green, and white. So that's another one that's a lot of fun. And then, of course, the Day of the Dead. Katrina's walking down the street. Everybody's faces are painted. It's fun. You have altars. We have fountains all throughout our town. And the fountains are decorated. Offices are decorated. Your own home. And then you can go to the cemetery here and have that experience where you actually... What they do is they take the favorite drink and the favorite food, and they put it on in the cemetery on their grave, and they celebrate life.
And it sounds wonderful, wonderful. And please tell us a little bit about the 5 C's.
Oh, well, a lot of us use that because it is all what San Miguel is about. The 5 C's are the culture that we have here, the beautiful climate year-round, the colors, the bougainvillea, the flowers, they're just everywhere. Then the cost of living, because it's very economical for someone to move here and retire and or come as a young couple that wants to relocate and have a different experience for their family also. And then you have a wonderful sense of community. In our community alone, we have over 120 charitable organizations that people can get involved in. So there's a little bit for everybody here.
That's great. Thank you. And you got all 5.
I remembered them.
And-
Oh, good.
So I understand there's a lot of young families that are moving to San Miguel, as
Yes.
you know, when we talk. Please tell me about the school systems that are there.
Well, the school systems are fabulous, and what a lot of the American community is doing is they come down here because they want their child to experience this culture and start the process of learning a second language. My kids were all born here, and they went to a wonderful bilingual school. It was named Jose Vasconcelos, and it's interesting. It's 45 years old, and it was started by a group of American women that married Mexican men, and they wanted their kids to have a bilingual education. So our kids grew up with 3 hours of English each day and 3 hours of Spanish.
And why would you say people are migrating to San Miguel? What's the draw?
Lifestyle. The lifestyle here is phenomenal. There is something for everyone here. First off, you have the beautiful weather year-round that we do have. But it depends on what your interests are. If you want to take art, jewelry, play golf, tennis, ride horses, bike, whatever it is you want, it's here. And the culture is such a beautiful culture. They're so inviting, and everything here is accessible to you. For example, on the weekends, every weekend we still hold the 2 to 4 lunch, and we go out to beautiful venues, or we're having lunch in our home. Either way, you always have family and friends around. Kids are a huge part of everything we do here, which is wonderful.
It sounds wonderful. It really does. And where do you think most of your buyers are coming from?
Well, it's interesting. We definitely have our feeder markets. California as a state comes, Texas as a state. Then we also have Chicago, Atlanta, and New York. Those would be 3 other of our large feeder markets.
Please tell us, Ann, regarding the flights coming in and out of Mexico, specifically San Miguel.
Really, over the years, it has changed. When my husband and I first came here in '91, our only option was to fly into Mexico City. And now we have on either side of San Miguel in León, Guanajuato, we have an airport that's an hour 15 away. And then in Querétaro, we have another one that's an hour 5. And we're nestled in the middle. So it gives the people that want to come here and experience San Miguel numerous options. Plus, driving here to go to other areas. If you wanted to go to Mexico City, it's only 3 hours away.
I know safety sometimes is a concern when thinking of Mexico. Can you tell me how you overcame the safety concern?
Well, actually, it's fascinating. We do get asked that question all the time. And, you know, in my own home, I sleep with my doors open. They're not locked. I'm not suggesting that necessarily for everybody. But the sense of safety here, you walk down the streets. This is a very family-oriented culture, and everybody really tries to take care of each other. So it's, for us personally, it has never been any kind of an issue.
And in San Miguel, I've seen some of the most amazing architectural designs. Can you tell us a little bit about the architectural designs?
Absolutely. We have a little bit of everything here now. We have traditional Mexican, we have colonial, we have contemporary and modern. It's been very interesting to see how over the years, when I first moved here, everything was arches and Cantera floors and Talavera tile. And the last 10, 15 years, the palette has become much more sophisticated, and we're able to really provide our clients with really any venue that they want. And that's what's so fun, and that's what makes real estate. When you're taking clients out, they know it the moment they walk into a home, because every home is so distinctly different. We have neighborhoods, but neighborhoods are categorized by the little meat market and the vegetable stand. But each house inside there, you can have $1 million house beside a hovel, or $1 million house besides a $200,000 house. It is not about the price of the property as much as the location.
And can you please share the property tax savings in San Miguel?
Absolutely. To give you an idea, I'll give you an example. It's approximately $240 on every 100,000. So on a $3 million property, your yearly property taxes are about $7,000 here.
And in terms of home conditions when they're put on the market, what are we seeing? Are we seeing as is? Are we seeing sellers put some money into it? What are the conditions that homes are being put on the market?
You know, it's the true gamut. It goes across. You've got ruins that you have a 250-year-old wall that you're having to create your design around because you're not allowed to touch or tear it down. That we have regulations for that. You can have the fixer-upper, just like in any other market when you go in, and then you have the completely remodeled, over-the-top, beautiful, like walk out of Four Seasons and you're there. Our median price here is probably on average around $500,000, but obviously in the market that our company works in, it's much higher, $750,000 and above. And I think right now our sweet spot is probably between $1 and $1.5 million, closer to $2 million.
Are you seeing appreciation in San Miguel in home values year after year? And what type of appreciation are you seeing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right now it's phenomenal. I feel like we're going into our strongest year ever on record for our company.
Can you tell me a little bit about the buying process and how it might differ from here in the United States, but how easy it is?
Okay, yes, the buying process here is very easy. It's very similar to the States in that you do through the offer acceptance. You go through the inspection process, the buy-sell agreement. Once you have the buy-sell agreement, then you put 10% in escrow. The escrow companies are in Mexico City, but the money's held in the U.S. in Citibank with the escrow company that we use. Typically, the balance is sent 3 to 5 days before the close, and it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for you to get your deed out of the public registry, and then you own the property in your name.
And I have to ask this, and when we spoke last time, I told you I was going to ask this question. Tell me your favorite buyer story.
Well, I have one that actually just happened, and it's a wonderful story because she was in her 70s. She already had a home here. So she called me up and she said, Ann, I want to go look at properties. And I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, the age of our clients are usually anywhere between 50 to 70. That's kind of the range. Anyway, so we found her this house. She went back to California. She closed by Zoom, and she brought her 92-year-old husband here and their dog all on her own. She arrived at the house, and her husband is thriving in this environment. He's outside in their interior patio every single day, reading, he's painting. It's wonderful.
We just should not wait until we're in our 70s or 90s to visit San Miguel.
There's no reason to.
That's my vote.
There really is no reason to.
And I have to say, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Location Luxe. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. Come visit.
Now I'd like to introduce today's keynote speaker, who we are so excited to have speak at this year's symposium. Rachel is the president of the International Well Building Institute, a public benefit corporation with a mission to improve human health and well-being through the built environment. Rachel leads the standard development, education, research, and accreditation divisions. Beginning in 2016, as IWBI's Chief Product Officer, Rachel expanded the WELL standard to address all building types, whole districts, and communities. She led the effort to bring a new version of the WELL building standard to market in 2018 and shaped IWBI's research and education platforms to accelerate market transformation. Rachel has lectured at the Harvard School of Public Health Center for Health and the Global Environment, Harvard University Kennedy School of Government, the University of Connecticut School of Business, and Tufts University. It's my pleasure to welcome Rachel Hogan. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I want to start off with a little story here. So picture this. It's the end of February 2020. I call my father and I say, I'm canceling my trip to Asia. I won't be able to meet up with you and mom in Vietnam next week. This virus is serious. I think you need to cut your vacation short and come home. We're fine, he assures me. Don't worry. I know the news sounds scary, but everything here seems totally under control. Everyone wears a mask and we get temperature scanned wherever we go. You don't understand, I say. This virus is making its way to the US. It's probably already touched down. You might not be able to make it home if you wait much longer. I've got more than 20 staff members in China who have been on lockdown for several weeks already. They can't leave their houses. We should all be preparing to spend the next several months in lockdown. I think you're overreacting, he says. I hang up with my father and turn my attention to work matters. Our inaugural WELL conference is scheduled for next month, and it's becoming clear that we are going to have to cancel it. And what about our team in New York City? Are we all ready to be working from home? How are we going to care for all of our people throughout this crisis? My story is not unlike many of your stories, but it was a story that began several weeks earlier than most COVID tales here in the US. Thanks to our team in Asia, we not only had a sense of the trajectory of the virus, we also had a massive head start on understanding how it was spreading and the critical role that buildings and organizations would play in the fight against COVID-19. Our team members there kicked off our organization-wide effort to parse through every piece of research we could get our hands on, every scientific report that was issued. We started aligning what we were learning about COVID-19 and how it was spreading to the feature requirements in the WELL building standard. Increased ventilation and filtration, check. Separately ventilated bathrooms, check. Enhanced cleaning protocols, check. Emergency preparedness plans, mental health support, adequate healthcare benefits, sick leave, and support for community immunity through vaccines, check, check, and check. Our team in China started organizing webcasts to organize and educate their community on these science-based interventions that reached more than 125,000 individuals in the space of a few weeks. The work that they began in researching COVID-19 specific solutions was then picked up by our in-house team of researchers, public health masters and PhDs, building scientists, and engineers. By the time we closed our office doors on March 12th and sent everyone at IWBI HQ to work from home for the foreseeable future, we were already hard at work on solutions for slowing the spread and educating our global community on how to empower buildings and those who operate and maintain them as frontline caregivers in the fight against COVID-19. We stood up a task force, 600 volunteers from our community, epidemiologists, infectious disease specialists, public health researchers, facilities managers, designers, architects, and engineers raised their hands to volunteer. The effort was chaired by renowned experts from Joe Allen, head of the Healthy Buildings Program at Harvard, to former US Surgeon General Dr. Richard Carmona, to the previous head of the China CDC. We stood up a portal for these contributors to dive deep into the relevant WELL features and tell us what needed to be added and what needed to be strengthened to make buildings the first line of defense in the fight against this deadly virus. We hosted convenings for the co-chairs and a series of town halls for task force participants, sometimes late at night or early in the morning, to accommodate for our volunteers that hailed from more than 25 countries and many different time zones. And from this incredible bench of experts and thousands of points of feedback, and from our relentless review of every piece of data and research we could get our hands on, came several conclusions. Number one, this was an airborne virus, and thus the majority of people who were contracting the virus were contracting it inside. So how we manage air is paramount to reducing the risk of transmission. Number two, that the toll that this would take on the mental health of our global population would be immense, and in the end will cost businesses and nations more than the virus itself in terms of healthcare costs, sick days, and lost productivity. Number three, that as with virtually every public health crisis that we have faced in the past and will face in the future, those who have the least suffer the most. And finally, four, that well held up really well in light of everything that we were learning. There were very few changes that needed to be made to the standard to stand up to this virus. We published an initial list of strategies culled from the well building standard that covered everything from emergency response planning to specifications for MERV filters. We hosted webcasts with experts that drew as many as 3,000 registrants per session. We rapidly stood up short-term advisories for hard-hit sectors like hotels, hospitality, sports, and entertainment to help them with their particular needs and challenges. We created free educational courses for office workers, teachers, and poll workers to empower them with simple strategies for protecting themselves and others in the midst of the pandemic. But our customers kept coming back and asking for more. We received emails and calls from multiple customers with a very specific ask to create a well designation to meet the moment, one that would address acute health threats in the built environment, COVID-19 especially, through shifts in building operations and management. And that was how the Well Health Safety Rating was born. We extricated the features from the well building standard that were most relevant and created a new scorecard to support a new offering. Our team created and launched this product in less than 30 days because we already had most of what we needed in the well building standard itself. And just as they promised, the market embraced it. It took us 66 months to register 600 million square feet of space for well certification. It took us less than 6 months to enroll that same amount of square footage to the Well Health Safety Rating. Today, over 1 billion square feet are enrolled to pursue the health safety rating, and thousands of buildings and spaces have already achieved it. From the iconic Empire State Building to Yankee Stadium to Fairfax County Public Schools to every bank branch, corporate office, and other space that houses JP Morgan Chase employees. We were so distressed to see that something as simple as wearing a mask to protect yourself and others could become politicized here in the US and in some other countries. And we saw an opportunity to increase public awareness around best practices for making a safe return to the new normal, whatever that is, and to help our customers get back to business. Have you seen the Look for the Seal commercials with Lady Gaga and J-Lo and Michael B. Jordan and Venus Williams and Wolfgang Puck and Deepak Chopra and Dr. Carmona on television? Those are ours. We created a consumer awareness campaign to leverage the voices and platforms of celebrities and other influencers to create a kind of trickle-up effect to get teachers, parents, home buyers, employees, shoppers, travelers, and taxpayers to ask that their health and safety be prioritized through science-based measures, to look for the seal and ask for the seal. We know that throughout history, pandemics, particularly those caused by airborne disease, have brought public health professionals together with the design and architecture community. But the cautionary tale is that once a vaccine or a cure is discovered, those communities often fracture, and we go back to our old ways of being, doing, and operating. We cannot afford to have this happen again. And our campaign is one of a number of ways that IWBI is trying to keep the connection between buildings and our health alive and well. Our team often says that having a sense of purpose kept us sane and committed to our work throughout this trying period. We've been so grateful to find ourselves in the eye of a storm, to have day jobs that are actually a part of the solution. Our global team is spread across at least 9 countries, and many of us have said that we feel more connected to one another and to our customers than we ever have. We feel like we showed up to the challenge, and our community met us there. The other day, my wife and I were taking our COO Pratik Khanna's 5-year-old daughter Ajuni to get ice cream in New York City, and she stopped in the middle of the sidewalk and said, "Look, Ray Ray, a well health safety seal." She had spotted a seal mounted to the door of one of those bank branches. It was such a small moment, but it brought me to tears because of the gravity of all that we have been through and all that we have accomplished as a team and a community. It all set in. We haven't much slowed down in the last year and a half, and we don't intend to slow down in the months to come either. The work is just too important and the opportunity too great. We have a new advisory in motion, the Health Equity Advisory, a group of more than 100 experts in diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and universal design, including Avi, Metropolis Editor-in-Chief and our host today, to help us think about the ways in which WELL can support buildings and organizations in leveling the playing field and creating inclusive environments for all. Out of that advisory, we'll launch a new rating, the WELL Health Equity Rating. Like the WELL Health Safety Rating, once launched, buildings and organizations can achieve this rating as a standalone designation or on the journey toward a full WELL certification or score. The social determinants of health tell us that where we sit and who we sit next to, our physical and social environments, have a greater impact on our state of health than our access to healthcare, our genetics, and our lifestyle and behaviors combined. And the pandemic has underscored this. Take vaccines, for instance. In the United States, the greatest determinant of whether you will get vaccinated or not depends on where you sit and who you sit next to. Our physical and social environments shape our choices, and in doing so, they have a profound impact on our health, well-being, and safety. Imagine spaces and places that welcome everyone in, that nudge us toward better, more healthful choices, and equip us all to live the healthiest versions of our lives. We're also hard at work on a new application of WELL for homes, whether it's because you were cooped up in your house for the better part of a year, or because you're afraid to set foot in a grocery store or an elevator. All of us are profoundly more aware of the impact that the places and spaces where we live our lives have on our ability to thrive, or in the case of the pandemic, to survive. Even before the pandemic, we spent more than 90% of our time indoors, and the majority of that time is spent in our homes. We've already created a solution for healthy, affordable housing in the United States through our partnership with Enterprise Community Partners. Pre-pandemic, we spent over a year working behind the scenes with the Enterprise team to merge our WELL Building Standard criteria with the Enterprise Community Certification, which is the leading certification for green affordable housing in the US. That means that every affordable housing project that certifies and achieves both an Enterprise Green Community Certification and a WELL certification gets a double branded plaque. And dozens of states either mandate or incentivize this criteria for state-funded affordable housing projects. So we'll leverage what we've learned through our partnership with Enterprise and what we're learning through nearly 100 volunteers who are participating in our WELL Homes Advisory to create new pathways in WELL for single-family homes and optimize existing pathways for multifamily homes to make sure that our homes can be places of respite with excellent air and water quality, abundant daylight, sound acoustics, and healthier materials. Homes that are comfortable, conducive to sleep, conducive to work for the many of us who will continue to work from home long after the pandemic has subsided, and most of all, conducive to raising a healthy family. We're targeting middle-income housing because we think that homes that are healthy and well should be available to all and not just a few. But one-off builds will also be able to WELL certify too. My mom and dad made it back from Asia safe and sound, and I got married during the pandemic. And the four of us, me, my wife, my mom, and dad, just closed on a piece of land yesterday. Like so many of you, this pandemic reminded us of what matters most, each other. And we're planning to build a multi-generational home that we hope will be one of the very first WELL certified homes in the world. Thanks so much for having me and letting me tell this story for the first time on camera, and hope that the rest of the sessions go great for all.